right, so it is now time for First Hand in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. And this morning we're taking a look at no calcium, no crop, the hidden secret to crop health. But before I get to m.gooden, who will share that information with us, let us say good morning to all of our wonderful and brilliant children who got the answer to the trivia question correct. And the animal that we're talking about, and let me read back the question. What farm animal is widely considered to be as smart as a dog or a young human? And it is said that this farm animal can learn tricks, follow commands, and even play simple video games. And the answer is the pig. Yes, so we say congratulations to Richard from Alpha Primary, and we say congratulations as well to, let me see if I can quickly scroll through all of this, because I want to make sure that I acknowledge the children for the work that they're doing. This is from Tahira, and she had sent me a lovely picture of herself heading off to church on Sunday. So Tahira, you got the answer correct. Shanoya Williams of Independent City Primary School also in with the correct answer. Israel, or 8-year-old farm girl from Mandeville Primary, has the correct answer. We also have the correct answer coming from Jamelia, and Orland has the correct answer too. So congratulations to all of our children. Let me see, Rahelia, yes, has the correct answer as well. And did I say Richard from Alpha Primary? So all of these children have the correct answer. Now all that is left to do is to tally to see who has the largest number of correct answers, and that person is then going to be the winner, and then we'll have second and third place as well. And that announcement we will make on tomorrow's program, so you can listen out for that. Let's say good morning to Murphy Gooden. Good morning, Murphy.
Good morning, Althea.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, and you?
I'm great. I have a feeling that you're there wishing you were a child again so you could participate in this quiz. Our children have been doing so well, Murphy. And I think as adults we're learning as well, because pigs are said to be smarter than dogs.
Yes, that is true.
Yes, able to solve puzzles and even have the capacity to dream. I don't know. People know that pigs can dream, but there we go. All right, so Murphy, this morning we're talking no calcium, no crop.
Yes.
I don't know. I always think about how closely related we are to our plants. And calcium is important for bone development. What is it good for in our plants?
Well, for plants, as you mentioned, it is very similar. So when we think about calcium, we basically think about the cell wall formation. Mm-hmm. Now, the cell wall formation basically speaks on how well the plant is able to basically resist invading microbes into the plant. So whether it's bacterial or fungal, calcium basically gives the plant that thick cell wall. So calcium is similar to concrete or cement in a sense where even though there are other nutrients, what calcium does, it basically holds everything as it should. So not only that, a lot of persons, they basically tend to not pay much attention to calcium because it doesn't directly give the plants that greenery that they often when it comes on to nitrogen or even rooting. So, for example, when we think about phosphorus, we know that phosphorus is basically responsible for that rooting aspect of the plant, and the potassium for the bearing, for increasing the yield. What calcium does, it basically holds everything and ensure that all those functions are being done.
So it's almost like glue.
So it's basically like glue.
Yes.
So without the calcium, then you won't be able to have those key functions actually taking place by those key nutrients.
So there it is. Calcium is quietly performing those critical functions that help to determine plant strength and the quality of the fruit, and clearly by the sounds of it, overall yield.
Exactly.
Wow.
And might I just add as well out here, a lot of times our farmers basically associate calcium with just the pH of the soil. Mm-hmm. But as we are seeing right here, it's basically doing a lot more than just the pH that's associated with the soil.
Why do crops, though, sometimes suffer calcium deficiency even when the soil contains enough calcium?
Well, this can basically take place for a numerous amount of reasons. So for one, what you basically find happening is that if the soil is dry, then calcium will not be absorbed into the plant. Now, the reason for this is because calcium is one of those nutrients that it don't move without water. So water is crucial for the plant to basically utilize calcium. Another issue associated with this is that a lot of times, as mentioned out here, many farmers just don't pay the calcium aspect not much attention. So especially when it comes on for the bearing, because that's when you basically see a lot of calcium issue taking place. When the plant is actually going into that bearing phase, they basically pay more attention to potassium, magnesium, or even the nitrogen aspect. Now, what we're also seeing too is that when they basically oversupply potassium, magnesium, what this does is basically block calcium from being absorbed into the plant. So you'll see on either your soil test, or a farmer will be aware that calcium is high within the soil, but because adding this much nutrient, namely potassium and magnesium, this is basically blocking calcium from being used by the plant. And we see this a lot of times with different crops.
All right, so very, very important information being shared. That being said, Murphy, we do recognize that we go through different seasons where from one season to another we might be facing excessive amounts of rainfall, and as we're seeing now, hotter and drier times leading to drought conditions. How do drought, irregular watering, excessive nitrogen, high potassium, and poor root rot development reduce calcium uptake?
All right, now the first one, as it relates to drought out here, as mentioned, calcium is one of those nutrients that is not readily absorbed by the plant, especially when there's no water. All right. Now, what this means is that if the soil is dry, and that is the number one reason why, especially when the crop is bearing, and if the time is dry, the yield is going to be very light, because what calcium does, it basically also has to add the plant. Giving that density, that weight that most farmers are looking for. All right? So if the soil is dry, then there's no water, then calcium is not able to basically move. As it relates...
Murphy?
Yeah.
Oh, you tripped out a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, my apologies. So as it relates to the potassium aspect, not potassium, as it relates to the antagonistic behavior with potassium, magnesium, and nitrogen, what you'll observe is that these elements are basically positive charged. Calcium is also positively charged. So what that means is that whenever any of these nutrients is basically in excess, they'll basically block like the other. So for example, if a farmer is planting watermelon and he is basically focusing on giving the plant the potassium to give it that sweetness to basically increase the yield. If he's over adding potassium, what you find happening is that you're going to have an issue when it comes down to calcium being absorbed. So the number one reason for this is can basically be simple put as this. Imagine you're going onto a bus. Everybody's boarding onto a bus. If it's a case where too many persons being the potassium, they basically crowd the entrance of the door. What's going to happen is that when it's time for calcium to go onto the bus, it's basically blocked. So potassium is basically blocking the calcium. When it comes on to the pH within the soil, if the soil is too acidic, that can also affect the uptake of calcium. So in areas such as the Albert tone area, the maroon tone area where the soil is acidic, there are key elements like aluminum. They basically become toxic to the roots of the plant and cause the tips to burn. Now, once the tips are burned, this will basically reduce the absorption of calcium by the plant.
All right. Just one quick question, and you have probably 30 seconds to answer.
Okay.
What crops are most vulnerable to calcium-related disorders?
All right. So to simply put, crops that are vulnerable would basically be mainly your fruiting crops or your fruiting vegetables. So, for example, your Scotch bonnet peppers, your sweet pepper. When you take a look at your pineapples, you take a look at your watermelon, the papaya. These are crops that you basically see a lot of calcium issue with, right? So your solanaceas, right, especially, right? And what you observe,
Murphy,
is you'll basically see either blossom end rot taking place, tip burn taking place, or you'll basically see a reduction in the weight or the size of what you're getting.
All right, and we will pick up on that when we come back. So we take the break.
Farmers, you can now prevent and cure fungal diseases with Eradicate Systemic Fungicide from Newport-Fersan, Jamaica Limited. Eradicate is effective against rust in coffee, citrus, sugarcane and peanut, black and yellow secatoka, early blight, mildews, purple blotch in onions, and other fungal diseases. Get your Eradicate at your nearest farm store or at the Newport-Fersan office, 2A2B Worry Wharf Complex. Stay in control with Eradicate.
Test drive the all-new Nissan X-Trail e-Power, a unique electrified experience, now unplugged. Time by Fidelity Motors is 6:15.
You're listening to Radio Jamaica, the voice of the nation.
All right, so we are inside the feature First-Hand in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. And this morning, our issue of focus, no calcium, no crop, the hidden secret to plant health. And m.gooden has highlighted that calcium is very often overlooked compared to other macronutrients. And it is very, very important because it helps to determine plant strength, fruit quality, and overall yield. Now, we have to catch up with a couple of farmers because they are the ones now who are out in the field doing the work, and we want to find out whether or not they understand the importance of calcium as well. So we have joining us Corrado McKenzie, pineapple farmer out of St. James, and Nordia Campbell, vegetable farmer out of St. Catherine. Corrado, good morning. How are you?
Morning.
Good morning. And Nordia, how are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
Good.
Thank you.
Good to have you on with us. Let me start with you, Corrado. Have you experienced problems such as blossom end rot, fruit cracking, or poor fruit quality on your farm?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And before understanding calcium management, what did you think was causing these problems?
So before I actually understand calcium management, there were so many things going on through my mind, wanting to give up.
Mm-hmm.
I actually believed that the soil wasn't good.
Ah.
The fertilizer that I was using was incorrect and stuff like those.
And how did all of that blossom end rot, the fruit cracking, affect your operations? Because you're into pineapples, and pineapples are very popular here in Jamaica.
Yes. So, market value, it will depreciate the market value because fruit size, we're looking at decrease in fruit size, the quality, right? I have instances where not just rot, but the fruit size was very small, thin, it was light.
Okay. Now, what changes did you notice after improving your calcium management practices?
So after started the program, because I did a soil test, and Mr. Gooden, he wrote a program, AMS program, and I started using that program, and I've noticed way difference in the tree colors because the appearance before I actually did the soil test, my plants, they were like on that brighter brown or yellowish looking color, right? So when I started my management practice, the color, the pigment of the plants, they get different. They were more on that greener side, right? The fruit size, they begin to increase.
Okay. No.
And I started noticing that the leaves, there were more leaves to the plants.
Very good. Now, besides applying calcium, what other farming practices help to improve your crop health and yields?
So, as I mentioned earlier, that I did a soil test, and they implemented the AMS program, right, which I started using not just to manage my calcium level, but other nutrients that was low, that was lacking in the soil. The fertilizer, I started using the fertilizer, the Start Booster line of fertilizer, Start Booster, the Vegetative Booster, and the Aheel Booster, and I can say I'm going to stick to those.
Sounds good. And would you recommend this to other farmers?
Definitely, especially for farmers that is doing deer farming on a large scale and want to see profit.
All right, thank you so very much for that. And let me bring Nadia in. Nadia, so you're into vegetables, but I wonder if you experienced problems similar to those experienced by Kerado in terms of blossom end rot or of poor fruit quality.
Yes, I do in my tomato farm because from my crop, at first I noticed that there were some black spots on it, and then I called by Agronomist, Mr. Dunn, Sanjae Dunn, and he told me that it's blossom end rot. And from there, he started to recommend some things that I should use, which I will go into further.
Okay. Now, before you understood calcium management, what did you think was causing your problems?
Actually, I thought it was a disease or some insect bite, some damage from insects, because you know that there are a lot of insects out there now. So I thought that was it. The summertime, you normally find a whole flux of them coming out. So I really thought it was some disease or it was some insect.
Now, what changes did you notice after you improved your calcium management practices?
Okay, my fruits, they get bigger. They also, the shape was different because it started to shape like the normal shape. All the spots were all gone within, I think, about 3 applications of spray I did. And the next yield that came out was perfect.
Excellent. And besides applying calcium, what other practices did you engage in?
I ensure that I have to maintain consistent watering because, as Mr. m.gooden said before, that because of the water, if they don't have enough water for it to go up in the food, that is a problem. So I have to make sure that the consistency of water is a must. The scheduled fertilization is also a must.
Okay.
Right? And you also have to check your plants daily to see if there is any pest there, any fruit damage. Please just remove all fruit damage. Once it is damaged, take it off the field and do not drop it in your field.
That's
remove
right.
it completely.
That's very sound advice. Any other type of advice you care to leave with the farmers, with other farmers?
Okay, I would say that we just need to don't guess and spell when it comes on to your crop. Call your agronomist. Get the information out. Ask him. They are the ones who are there to assist us. So call them, let them recommend what is needed to be done. Some of them, they come to your farm and they look at it for you. So you can't want more than that, and you don't have to pay for it. It's free. So call them, get the advice from them, and then you put in a program, and I can tell you, your crop will be going. But you have to monitor your early morning monitoring. You have to do that for both your crop, and if you want your income to go up, you have to ensure that your crop is okay.
All right. Thank you both, Kerado McKenzie, pineapple farmer out of St. James, and Nadia Campbell, St. Catherine vegetable farmer. Thank you, and wishing you all the best for the rest of the year.
Thank you for having us.
Take care. Thank you. Pleasure. All right, Murphy, let me come back to you. I want to just touch a little bit, and we don't have a lot of time left, but why should calcium management begin with proper soil testing and pH management? Because I noticed that the farmers mentioned the soil testing.
All right. With calcium out here.
Murphy, we're missing some of what you're saying. Put the phone up to your ear or the speaker to your mouth. One of the two things will help us.
Okay. Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So as I was saying, with calcium, it's important to you for farmers to have a soil test done. Now, calcium is one of those nutrients that you'll see the issue taking place early within the plant life cycle, but you basically see it, especially when the crop is in the bearing phase, which is basically at the last lap, when it's time to actually collect that return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to have a soil test done before you even start planting. Not only that, but to also monitor your pH, because as mentioned earlier, when it comes on to your pH, acidic soil can basically affect the uptake of calcium in that certain elements like aluminum, manganese become toxic to the root areas and basically cause burning. As a result, the plant will basically have an issue with uptake. So it's important for farmers to basically do the soil test before they do anything first, Althea. And I say that do the soil test before you do anything first. So that is very, very key.
All right, so you know what is going on with the soil before you move on. How can farmers avoid nutrient imbalances caused by excessive potassium or nitrogen applications?
All right, now after a farmer has done a soil test, a representative from Newport-Fersan will basically give a farmer a program, and on this program, it will basically contain the recommended rate of application for the various nutrients such as potassium, the calcium, the magnesium, and other nutrients within the soil. So it's not a case where we're going to be guessing and basically applying certain nutrients within the soil. Everything is basically done in a manner that to ensure that no nutrient will basically cause another nutrient or basically to prevent another nutrient from being absorbed by the plant.
All right.
So a program is recommended.
Kerado mentioned the use of the AMS. What is the AMS, particularly for those who are just hearing for the first time about AMS? All right.
So the term AMS basically means agriculture management system. So that is basically the precise approach or the program that's being implemented. Mm. So it's not a case where it's just the soil test. What you're getting a concise breakdown of what it is that you should apply, when you should apply, in what levels you should basically apply, and basically everything that's needed for you to basically succeed. So it's basically giving you a management practice, something that you should basically stick by, step by step, and giving you exactly what you need to do.
And the final thing I will ask you this morning is, what practical recommendations can Newport-Fersan provide to help farmers maximize calcium efficiency and improve overall crop quality?
All right. Now, they've basically made blends. So, for example, take a look at the calcium nitrate. A lot of farmers who plant pineapple and yam, they tend to use a lot of sulfate of ammonia. Now, in those key areas, you'll find that sulfate of ammonia, because of the soil pH being very acidic, is basically getting from bad to worse. So we at Newport-Fersan, we have a blend known as calcium nitrate, and it's highly recommended that the farmers basically, we're not telling them to stop or basically don't apply any sulfate, but just try one single bag on a small section of the land and see the difference for yourself. We also specialize in soil ameliorants. So as mentioned earlier, soil pH is very important. So the Calci-Fersan is a blend that was basically engineered to basically correct the pH that's within the soil. That is, if the soil is acidic. And also, we have a liquid fertilizer known as Maniplex Calcium, which is sprayed onto the leaf. And what that is, it basically is a much faster response for the plant to accept calcium within the plant itself. So it's basically sprayed onto the leaf. And just to finally mention, for the farmers to actually use these products, again, first approach is always to have a soil test done.
All right. Thank you so very much, Murphy. You have provided quite a bit of vital information. I know the farmers, they had their notebooks out, they had their tablets, their phones, whatever it is that they're using to take the notes. I know that they took the notes this morning, and I really want to thank you very much for the focus that you had on calcium this morning, and for us all to understand that just as human beings need calcium, so do our plants. Thank you so very much.
And thank you for having me out.
All right. Always a pleasure, Murphy. m.gooden there, and Murphy is an agronomist with Newport-Fersan, Jamaica, and that was Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. And this morning the focus was on no calcium, no crop, the hidden secret to crop health. And this segment of Farm Talk in Sunny Side Up was brought to you by Newport-Fersan, Jamaica.